Building a retirement portfolio to meet our needs is an important step that we can't afford to skip if we want a pleasant retirement. But there's more to the story than simply building the portfolio mix. We must strategize when and how to withdraw the money to pay for entertainment, bills, and taxes in retirement. We can also take advantage of Roth conversions along the way to reduce those pesky required minimum distributions in our 70s. In this video, we'll dive deep into a specific example of how to handle all of the above. Your retirement situation will vary based on a multitude of factors, but this information should provide you a base understanding of how this stuff works. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name's Jeff Teeples, and here we aim to grow your wealth with simple, time-tested solutions. We had 4 new channel members this week. I'd like to give a huge shout out to the 4 new members that are on the screen now. I changed the way that I record these videos because I've been having a very difficult time meeting my Sunday deadline the last couple weeks. So I will now be about a week behind, and there's even a little more lag in this week. So if you joined in the last week and a half, I promise your shout out is coming in the next video. But thanks so much to the 4 of you for joining, and all the people that have joined since, and the people that have been here all along. I really appreciate the support of the channel. I aim to add as much value with these spreadsheets, and I thank you for making this all possible for me. As always, if anyone would like to become a channel member and get access to my spreadsheets, the emojis, the badges, and other fun things, the link is in the description below to join. Let's grow. Preparing the portfolio, Part 1 recap. We covered how to build a dividend-based retirement portfolio in a recent video on the channel. If you're like me and you lean towards a dividend-based solution over the traditional 4% rule, be sure to check out that video. I'll leave a link in the description below. I'll spare you the painful details of building that portfolio in this video. We will be moving forward with the holdings that we established for that portfolio. This video will focus on the process of paying our bills and our taxes while living our best lives in retirement. We'll discuss how to stretch each dollar of dividends that we receive to the limit. There are simple ways to minimize our tax bill in retirement, but it's easy to miss out on these savings because this information is not widespread. Let's tackle this retirement scenario 1 year at a time. We'll soon jump over to a spreadsheet that will cover the basics of tax planning in retirement. This will be a high-level view to explain how each component of your portfolio affects your tax bill. It may not be pinpoint perfect for your specific situation, but the general rules will apply. The main idea is to fully utilize the 12% tax bracket each and every year in retirement. Doing this will save you a lot of money and heartache in future years. That's when you'll have to take what is known as the required minimum distributions from your traditional IRA once you're in your mid-70s. This has the potential of putting you into a higher tax bracket in those later years if you didn't take advantage of the full conversion process in your first few years of retirement. This is likely as clear as mud so far. Don't worry, we're gonna clean up all these details when we dive into the spreadsheet. Year by year example. Let's forget about setting the rest of the stage. We're just gonna dive right into this thing. Strap in, ladies and gentlemen, because we're going to be out here for quite a while. So this looks overwhelming. Don't be alarmed, we're going to cover each and every row and column here, and it'll all make sense as we get going. We're continuing the retirement situation that we started in part 1 when we built the portfolio with $1 million. Let me explain how I've split this out. Here's our age. We retired at 60, and it was 2 years before taking Social Security. So from 62 and on, we got Social Security. Year 1 is 60, and that's where we're gonna start. If you remember in part 1, for our expenses, we needed $60,000 per year. I made it to 72 to roughly cover taxes. So we'll get into that a little more. But this is $60,000 to live on, $72,000, which I think is slightly exaggerated, but I wanted to be careful, if anything, to also cover the taxes owed. So of the dividends with that old portfolio, we started with 8,500 of qualified dividends. I took these numbers directly from the spreadsheet, and these were SCHD. If you remember, I took the lowest of the 3, 5, and 10-year dividend CAGR, which was about 8.5%. So this qualified dividend row is strictly that $250,000 that we put into SCHD in our taxable account. So it pays a qualified dividend, which we separate out because it's treated differently. And this is just it growing with those original shares at the lowest CAGR assumption. And then our ordinary income, and this is coming from that traditional IRA that was $500,000 in this scenario. This is the amount we have to pull out each year to cover the bills. So you add the qualified dividend and the ordinary income and Social Security and other, like if you have pensions and stuff like that. So when you add all three of these up, that will add up to $72,000. And you can do the same for this column. And you'll notice in year 3, we need more money. This goes up by 3% per year. We assumed a 3% inflation. So you need that much more money each year to cover bills and taxes. So in year 3, you can see you have to pull out way less from the traditional IRA when your qualified dividends aren't that much more because you have that Social Security helping out. It was $2,500 a month between the married filing jointly couple in that scenario. So let's just step over to the taxes here. We're going to start with year 1. We have a total of $72,000 that we're working with. The combination between our qualified dividends that are already in our taxable account and ready to use and the money we had to pull out of the IRA to cover the rest of our bills to get to 72. So of that income for the year, we have $63,413, and that's from the IRA. That's as ordinary income. We have a standard deduction when we file our taxes of $29,000, and I assumed the 3% inflation growth as the years go by, and that's about what it does historically. The IRS makes inflation adjustments. So that makes our ordinary taxable income 63 minus the standard deduction, you're at $34,000. We have the $8,500 of qualified dividends, and they actually add into your total taxable income, not your taxable income that's subject to federal taxes with the standard tables, but you do add it together to get a total number of $42,800. That's your ordinary taxable income after the standard deduction added with your qualified. So here's our total taxable income so far is $42,000. The limit, and we're going to hop over and explain this further in detail here in a second. The taxable limit to stay in the juicy 12% tax bracket is $94,050. We'll just call it $94,000. So we have an additional amount that we can pull out to live on or invest in our taxable account or convert to a Roth IRA. Either one is the same. This is from the IRA, from this IRA that we're drawing on each year to your taxable account if you want to just pull it out and as an additional amount, or convert it to a Roth IRA forever and it's never taxed again. We'll want to pull out $51,000 in this first year because it'll still keep us this total taxable income so far plus what we could pull out or convert adds up to $94K. And you're thinking, well, why $94,000? And just to set the stage, this also grows by inflation. So all these things grow by the presumed 3% inflation. In reality, inflation might be lower. That means all of these, including your expenses, would be lower. So they all feed off each other on an assumed 3%, if you're wondering why they get bigger. Now let's jump over to the specific tax tables to discuss some things. Okay, we're actually out on the same spreadsheet. I just scrolled over and saved you the time of me fumbling around. So here's the 2024 federal tax brackets. This is your ordinary income tax brackets. And again, those are from non-qualified dividends or anything you pull out of your traditional IRA and Social Security, which technically only 85% in most cases of Social Security is taxed. So work with your own tax advisor for your specific data. We're staying very general with these numbers and just saying it's all taxed, but in reality, you can pull or convert even a little more each year. And someone can help you with that because the math can be a little confusing. Let's start here with our federal taxes. We're looking here at married filing jointly, but of course, look to the one that applies to you. The first $23,000 of income is taxed at 10%. And then anything over $23,000, but less than 94.3, you're in that nice low 12% tax bracket. Now, anything over 94,300 gets you up to 22. That's why we want to live in here as much as possible. And hence, that's why we have this limit column showing each year what we want to stay under. You can go over and you can convert as much as you want, and that's okay. But we're going to try to fully utilize this 12% tax bracket, even if we don't need it that year, because it'll save us from required minimum distributions that will push us into these tax brackets if we accumulate too much wealth and then they force us to pull it out in our 70s. Each year, to pay less long term, we want to live here. And these will eventually change the percentages, but you want to live in these bottom two tax brackets. And now if you look at qualified dividends, your SCHD and your taxable account, we're married filing jointly. So anything under 94,050, and that's the number I use because I use the lower of the two here. Anything under 94,050 of taxable income is taxed at 0%. So in our scenario, when you come back to where we were, these qualified dividends, you pay $0 of tax on. And guess what? When you pass away and your kids inherit the money, the SCHD in that taxable account, they pay zero capital gains. They get a stepped up cost basis. You pay 0% tax on qualified dividends and you never pay capital gains as long as you hold the position. They inherit it as if they bought it that day. Taxable accounts are low-key Roth IRAs when utilized properly. That's a tough one for people to pick up on. At the end of this year, we've been able to convert to a Roth IRA or pull out to the taxable income to invest more in SCHD. But in this case, we're just going to do a conversion to keep the numbers clean. 51,000. So when we come back over and we're 61 years old, we're basically going to rinse and repeat, you guys. There's not a lot to this. Our expenses went up by 3%. Our qualified dividends went up. Therefore, we have to pull out less from our ordinary income. Now the number's greater because of inflation, but proportionally less. But you pull out the 64, so this plus this equals the expenses you need. We still don't have Social Security income helping us yet, or any pension. So we pulled out this amount and we come back over here. We have 64.8K of ordinary income. That's Social Security, which is zero, plus this stuff we pulled out of our traditional IRA. And we have our standard deduction up 3% to 30,000. Our total ordinary taxable income at the federal tax tables, those higher tax rates, the 12% bracket, is 34,700. We must add the qualified dividends, even though they're tax-free, we pay 0% on them. Add these together to get our total taxable income of 44,000. The limit, up 3% like everything else, is at 96.8. So this year we'll convert $52,800 to our Roth IRA and only pay 12% tax on it. It's like a life hack, you guys. And you're thinking, well, why pull out extra? If I don't convert any, it's 0%. Yeah, but then when we get into our 70s down here and your natural growth of the IRA has, you're up to a couple million, 2, 3, 4 million, and you'll be surprised how it adds up, even with taking stuff out. Then all of a sudden they make you start taking out a certain percent of it each year, and it gets higher as you age based on your life expectancy, and it'll force you into the 22, 24, and sometimes even 32% tax bracket. So we are doing this conversion now to never pay taxes ever again once it's in the Roth, and reduce our IRA but increase the Roth, but the overall amount's the same. We pay that 12% tax to do it and we stay within our limit, and we're just putting more money in your pockets and less taxes to the tax man long term. So now when we get 62, and we're almost done here, I won't go through every year, I just wanted to show how this worked. We get to 62, we have that juicy magical Social Security income. So you can see we pull out a significantly less chunk from our IRA to supplement our qualified dividends and our SOC. When we add these together, they equal this number. Via the formulas, you'll just have to trust me, bro, on that. And we have 66,000 ordinary. That's the Social Security and this ordinary dividends. And again, not all of this is taxable. There's a formula for it. It's 85% or less, but these are just simple numbers. In reality, you can actually, this will be even lower for you. So that's a good thing. So you take this minus the new standard deduction, which is 3% higher. That gets you 35,000 of ordinary taxable income that is taxed at 10 and 12%. $10,000 of tax-free qualified dividends, a total of 45.4K of total taxable income. The limit's up to 99.7 if it scales with inflation, and now we convert 54,000. You rinse and repeat, you guys. The thing that's nice about Social Security is it puts less pressure on you to take from your traditional IRA each year. But at the same time, the irony is you want to take as much as you can. So this year you're pulling out 36,000 plus that 54. You want to pull out as much as you humanly can to fill up that full juicy 12% tax bracket, because you will be a happy camper long term when you do that. And it's that simple, you guys. You'll get in this flow. Remember, your qualified dividends are the ETFs or stocks you hold in a taxable account only. IRAs do not benefit from qualified dividends, so this is taxable account only, and they just grow and let them do their thing. And then you work around them to ultimately keep them at 0% taxes. So then you'll take your social, you'll take this, you'll get to that number, you'll do all your stuff, you'll say, okay, I'm comfortable. Okay, CPA, or tax accountant, whoever you use, help me here. This is my situation. Okay, you're able to convert 56,000 this year. But yeah, that's it. It really is that basic, you guys. And then you can reinvest and you might be building more qualified, these numbers will change, but the logic of what to focus on and how this all works will be the same for everyone. This is simple and you can do it. Retirement planning can be overwhelming when you think about all the future steps that you're going to need to take care of. But you guys, it isn't as scary as it seems like it is if we just tackle them one step at a time. And the beautiful thing about it is that in the US, our progressive tax system virtually makes it impossible to royally screw this stuff up. If you withdraw and or convert too much money in a single year, everything is okay. For example, let's say you accidentally made your taxable income $94,500 because you took out a little too much that year. Your marginal tax rate will be increased to 22% from that much more juicy 12%. But fear not, it is only on that extra $200 that you accidentally pulled out. The first $94,300 is taxed exactly the same, so you really can't screw this stuff up. I use this specific example because I've ran into a lot of people that have earned a little extra money or received a bonus and it pushed them to the next tax bracket, and they think, oh no, that just screwed everything up. But what they don't understand is, no, it didn't. It's only on that additional bonus money or extra money over the top of that last cap of the marginal tax rate. Someone that makes $5 million a year pays the exact same taxes on their first $94,000 that I do. What I'm trying to get across here is that you can create your portfolio in retirement that meets your needs, and you can start withdrawing or converting a set amount of money each year, and you don't have to worry about screwing it up or any of the fine details. Now, your tax accountant can help you stay in these proper tax brackets to fully utilize them, but don't worry about not doing it perfectly. It's a-okay. Trust me, even if you're not maximizing every little dollar, if you put a couple in that 22% tax bracket, you are still saving 6, probably 7 figures over having someone else manage this for you at a low assets under management fee. The compound effect of those fees adds up just as crazily as the compound interest effect of our investing growth. You can relax and drink that martini on the beach. You have much more important things to worry about with your time. And you'll have plenty more time once you get this thing on autopilot. Check out one of these 2 videos if you want to learn more about this personal finance stuff. Thanks for watching, and I will see you here next Sunday. Peace.